welcome back to another episode of the Nighttime series. Today, we'll be going over the Cassie Lang and the future Ant-Man deep dives, and I'm very excited to go over this because one of them, Cassie Lang, just looks absolutely crazy, man. I'm also going to go over the Gorr and Chavez buffs, or the tune-ups that they got, because they do look pretty promising, especially the Gorr one. So yeah, I'm just going to go over some buffs today. Nothing too crazy. Last Nighttime episode was pretty crazy with all the news, but today will be a little bit more chill. I did get a comment though saying that people don't really mind the longer episodes, which does make me happy because I love making long episodes because they can just let me talk for a very long time. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So first let's talk about Cassie Lang because that's who I'm excited for the most. And I condensed a deep dive into some quick images to help you understand the deep dive a little bit better without having to watch it all in the 10-minute duration that it's in. So yeah, Cassie Lang, her biggest utility is that she has Poison, Shock, and Buff Immune, which is a great set of immunities. The OG Ant-Man has that already, so that's pretty good. Also, she has access to the Tiger-esque miss mechanic on her heavy attack, but this one, she can trigger on basic attacks or special attacks, right? And it does have a cooldown because it scales with a certain set of charges, and she'll run out eventually, so you have to just be careful with that. Additionally, she has access to a ton of power stings, up to 30, or up to 40 if she's max sig as well, so a lot of power stings there. She has access to taunt as well, and these two things play together very well because on her special attack too, she gets increased attack rating per power sting, and if the opponent is taunted, then she'll get guaranteed crits on her SP2, so it'll be a massive damage dealer, right, the SP2. But also she has access to power sting, so that'll do a lot of damage as well. So she has two ways to do damage, which is a really good utility in my opinion, because, the more ways to do damage means the more versatile the champion is, which is always great. So yeah, that's everything you need to know about Cassie Lang. Now let's go over how to play her. So here's how Cassie works. You heavy charge to shrink down and miss, and this consumes charges up to 300. And when you charge your heavy attack, you build dormant charges that activate power stings when you hit the opponent with your heavy attack. Additionally, you can build Pim charges by triggering her immunities, and that is buffs, right? So you've seen a dex to build her charges. You consume the charge that you get by dexing for a poison debuff, which lowers the expiration time for your power stings and your taunts. So it's a really weird mechanic, but it pretty much increases the duration of the debuffs, right? It's just worded really weirdly. But also the SP1 gives a taunt, and the SP2 gets attack per sting and guaranteed crit if the opponent is taunted. So just keep that in mind. So what you want to do is you pretty much want to just go for the SP1 taunt, right? Then you want to activate the poison to lower the expiration of the taunt, so increase the duration of it. And then you just want to go for the SP2, which will get guaranteed crits, and it'll get massive damage bonus based on the power stings. So that's how she works pretty much. And the SP3 lets her go giant mode, which is it's really cool. I don't think it's really needed though for her base kit. It just gives her a minor attack increase and also lets her increase her power sting debuff duration. So yeah, overall, pretty straightforward to play. I'm gonna really enjoy her when she comes out, hopefully. But yeah, looking very solid. I think she'll be the standout of the month, and I cannot wait to play her. Now let's talk about future Ant-Man. So here are the best utilities for Ant-Man Future. He's very tanky, as in he gets a lot of armor up buffs. He also glances a lot, and he also has a 10% safeguard when he's awakened to max sig. He also has Disintegration and SP1 that makes her pretty decent power control. Disintegration is a new debuff that reduces combat power rate and lets him do more damage whenever he hits the opponent. He also has minus 90% bleed and incinerate duration when he's awakened to max sig, which is pretty good. I feel there's a lot locked behind his signature ability though, which is kind of a letdown because you really want 206 for this guy, which is a bit unfortunate. But honestly, I have a theory that he's gonna be very high prestige, so maybe that's why they're doing it. He also has access to regen from the signature ability, 3% missing health whenever a Bleed or Incinerate expires on the opponent, expires on him, and also 5% maximum health whenever his safeguard damage is hit. So yeah, a lot of regen, a lot of tankiness. This guy looks pretty good when it comes to those fields. Kind of thinking he's a bit of a defender more than an attacker, but we'll see. He does look pretty good on attack though, especially with the SP2. But yeah, now let's go over how he works. Alright, so at the beginning of the fight, he gets an encroaching power detonation, and it takes 14 seconds for it to activate, and once it activates, it drains power from the opponent on activation, and then, yeah, that's pretty much that mechanic. He also has nano armors, and he gets them by intercepting the opponent or interrupting their heavy attack, and at 6+, he gains something, it's like a mechanic, right? And it increases attack rating, and it makes the opponent more aggressive. So it's a pretty good mechanic to have. So ideally you want to get up to 6 armor ups by intercepting and interrupting heavy attacks, so you can get the increased attack rating and get the increased aggressiveness. Also, whenever you do a lightning combo, you disable the highest current, like, special attack, right? So, like, let's say you're at 2.9 bars of power, and you do a lightning combo, right? And it'll disable the special attack 2, and you can only use special attack 1. If that makes any sense, man, I'm sorry. It's really complicated. This is the part that's best, like, explained visually. But, yeah, that's how he works. Now let's go into the next part of his kit. Now let's continue. So his SP1 inflicts disintegration debuff, has a max of 2 stacks, and it drains power per disintegration. So that's a good form of power control, but it's important because the SP2 inflicts an instant disintegration, and it gets plus 100% potency per active disintegration on the opponent. So like, you get your SP1, you inflict 2 of the disintegrations, and then you go for an SP2, you get the plus 200% potency, and you just do a lot of damage. And ideally, you have 6 plus nano armors as well, so you get the increased attack rating there. So yeah, looks like he can do pretty good damage. From the deep dive, it looks pretty promising. And the SP3 inflicts a long disintegration, and he gains 10 nano armors, which isn't too important. But yeah, that's how he works. But yeah, this guy looks like a really good, like, hybrid of a defender and an attacker. Like, his attack mechanics look pretty strong. His defense mechanics look pretty insane. So yeah, overall, some pretty interesting stuff here. And now let's talk about Gorr and America Chavez. So for America Chavez, her Utopian Parallel now reduces Pierce buff potency, as well as Fury, Cruelty, and Precision, and I think one more buff, by 75%, which is a very strong potency decrease. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. Additionally, her matching dimensions, the duration decrease goes from 20% to 15%, so that's a bit nice. Like, it makes her, like, a lot less punishing, but it's like a very small decrease, meaning like 5%, not the biggest deal. Here's the big thing though. The dimensional energy infusion cap went from 9 to 6, but to, like, compensate for that, the benefit per buff or per dimension is it went from 584 attack rating to 974 attack rating from 565, and 286 energy resistance to 460. So a pretty nice increase there. The biggest thing about this buff is that she gets a pretty nice damage increase from, like, the dimensions. So yeah, looking forward to it. I don't think she'll be, like, the next top mystic with it. I think she'll just be a little bit better on offense. I think she's still primarily a defender. But yeah, not looking too bad. And now let's talk about Gorr the God Butcher. Now for Gorr, his Undermine duration with signature ability at max sig went from 9 seconds to 16 seconds, which is a very noticeable difference. It sucks that he needs 200 sigs, but if you invest in them, you will get a very solid Undermine. Additionally, his Shadow Magic buff duration went from 20 seconds to 30 seconds, which is a very solid increase. I feel like that was what he needed the most. Like, 20 and 30 seconds, that is huge. That is a very big increase. And additionally, the max stack for Shadow Magic buff went from 3 to 4. So 4 per Shadow Magic now. Pretty solid. It's kind of hard to get 4 anyway, so it wasn't the biggest, like, issue, you know. But yeah, Gorr needed this. Gorr really needed this, and I feel like this will make him a lot more practical and a lot more usable overall. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to test him on Monday or Tuesday whenever the buff comes out. But yeah, looking like some pretty good buffs. Looking like some very solid champions as well. Like Cassie Lang, man, oh my gosh, I need her immediately. That's going to conclude this episode, though. It was really fun talking about the buffs and the new champions. I cannot wait to, like, play them, actually. Cannot wait to make content on them as well. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on either of the buffs or, like, Cassie Lang or future Ant-Man. And yeah, that's about it for me.